don't know if we want to just jump right into it. It's what I want to talk about, but I want you to kind of explain this whole Steemit thing to me
Oh,
and the people
sure.
listening.
Yeah, well, I got turned on to Steemit about a little over a year ago, or about a year ago. Um, I follow this one guy who always puts out the most cutting edge, latest, greatest, coolest stuff, about internet marketing. And he said, "Here's a website that'll pay you to post content." And if you liken it to Facebook, Facebook, they make money on our content, basically. They make money on the fact that we all congregate there. We're all kind of keeping tabs on each other. It's a social networking thing. And they get to run ads to that huge population of almost 2 billion people, right?
Mm-hmm.
Well, imagine if Facebook, instead of having that business model, they said, we're going to take all that money that we would make on ads and we're going to just share it out to all the people who post. We're going to reward the people who post the best value content or the best quality content with more, and the people who post content that isn't that great with less.
Mm-hmm.
Or here's another scenario. If you're familiar with Reddit, Reddit has upvotes and downvotes and that kind of thing. And so your reputation kind of rises and falls with how good your content is. If you put some kind of spammy content, they'll downvote you, to smithereens.
Mm-hmm.
But if you post something that's really useful for that community, they'll upvote you. And if you do really well, then you might make it to the front page of Reddit, which is where all the eyeballs are, right?
Yeah.
So Steemit is kind of like a Reddit, but where you get paid. So if you post quality content and it gets upvoted, each one of those upvotes has a value to it based on the person doing the upvoting.
Mm-hmm.
If the person doing the upvoting has a really high credibility and clout on the site, and they've accumulated what we call steam power, then their upvote counts for a lot more. And so the other day I got, it was just a comment that I made on somebody's post,
Mm-hmm.
and I got $7 and something cents for that comment. And the $7 and something cents was actually in US dollars, but Steem is, at that point was worth about $1.50 per dollar.
Mm-hmm.
So that $7 was, I don't know, it was worth maybe like $10 to me or something like that when it's all said and done. And so where I kind of like was wondering, wait a minute, are they just kind of creating money out of thin air? Where does this money come from, right?
Yeah, exactly. That's what I'm like.
Where's that $7 coming from that this person upvoted? Well, as it turns out, everybody gets paid in Steem, which is a cryptocurrency that, in effect, yeah, cryptocurrency can be just kind of, you could make one.
Mm-hmm.
You could create a cryptocurrency. And then at that point, it becomes, what does party A believe party B's cryptocurrency is worth?
Mm-hmm.
If you think about the money that we have in our pockets, the $100 bill, the $50 bill, the $10 bill, whatever, that's all based on trust, right?
Right.
We're trusting that the federal government is going to make good on that $10 bill, the $20 bill, or really, when it all boils down to it, if you really look at it macroeconomically, that money doesn't really exist.
Yeah, just numbers. I mean, I think about that all the time when I'm at the store,
Right.
and I'm like, oh, well, I just put my credit card in here and there's just numbers that went from here to there. But
yeah, that's all. That's all it really is.
Even getting paid from Udemy every month, it's just like these numbers that appear in our PayPal account, and it just gets transferred, and then I pay down my mortgage, which is just another number, and it's just crazy.
Exactly. Yeah. Yeah. And the thing about it is, our country has such a huge deficit that it would almost be impossible to pay that debt down,
Mm-hmm.
So we're really dealing with dollars equal trust. I trust this is worth $20. I'm giving it to somebody else who also trusts that it's worth $20.
Mm-hmm.
And they take it as value, So that's the bottom line with cryptocurrency, is assuming that the underlying foundation of it is good, then this is what we're being paid in. But here's the cool thing. If you get paid in Steem, if you want to, you could immediately turn that into dollars.
And is that something that you've already done so far?
Yeah, I haven't turned it into dollars. I've turned it into other cryptos like Bitcoin and Ethereum, which are the two big ones that they're kind of the standard bearers. You know,
Yeah.
Bitcoin, of course, everybody's heard of, and then Ethereum is right next to it in terms of people knowing about it. It's not right next to it in terms of value. Like right now, Bitcoin is at about $2,300 per coin, and you can buy fractions of it. So, I mean, if you had $20, you could buy $20 worth of Bitcoin, for example.
Right.
Ethereum is at roughly $200 per coin. So, but it wasn't that long ago that Bitcoin was at $600.
Yeah, I've been hearing about it on the news lately. Well, I've got a couple questions about this to clarify for myself, but I just want to again welcome people. We got 19 people watching live, which is awesome. I guess you guys have missed us a little bit, so that's good to see you here. And we've got some questions rolling in, so we're going to get to those in just a minute, including one from Powell, who's coming all the way from Ireland. So thanks for listening, Powell. And then Yogesh just asked a question about general passive income. So we'll get to those in just a minute. But two questions. One, for the content that you're putting on Steemit, what I know is that you can just put like a YouTube video, right? You don't have to just, you don't upload it directly to Steemit, but can it also be on like your blog? Can you just repurpose content?
Yeah, I think that's one of the best ways to do it, is just repurpose content that you're already creating. If you're promoting online courses, or if you are trying to build a following in your niche topic, just create content around that. You know, you might create a video, like I do a daily video every day, all about online marketing, digital marketing, teaching online, all this kind of stuff, right? And all I do is I post the video on Steemit with a blurb that kind of describes the video, the same blurb that I already put on YouTube for that video, the description. I just repost it. By doing that, I'll get paid anywhere from, you know, like 40 cents, $1.60, $3, $5. The most I've ever gotten paid was $46 for one post. And by the way, that's really low compared to what some people get. But what it amounts to is you developing a following, and every once in a while, one of those people that follows you will be what we call a whale, which is somebody who has really high clout on the site, and whenever they upvote something, you know, it kicks you into another level.
Yeah.
And so as you develop the content that people want to read or see, or even a photo that you post and a little story about your photo, you get paid. And even if it's a little bit, it's a heck of a lot more than YouTube pays.
Right, exactly. I mean, for me, I see no reason why not to do this with content that I'm already creating. And since I have old content, I might just, you know, post it on Steemit. It sounds like the sign up process is a little bit harder. How do you get an account and get going with it?
Well, it's been a while since I did mine, but you basically just fill out the account, and you get a password, and that's the most important thing. It's a randomly generated password by Steemit to you, because part of this has to do with the fact that they're paying you in cryptocurrency, and so you've got to have this key. And so as long as what you do is you copy and paste that into several places so you don't ever lose it, because they don't guarantee that they can recover that key for you. And then it's usually about a 1 or 2 or 3 day wait for them to approve it, depending on how many people are flooding the site to join. Yeah. And that's about it. It's really not difficult. You just fill out the application to get on.
So I'm still confused about the money part of it, and it's partly because I just don't know that much about cryptocurrencies. But so they have their currency, which is Steem. Again, so where is this coming from? And like, how are they making money themselves to be able to pay people who are commenting and posting on Steemit?
All right, that's a great question. So let's think of it as Bitcoin, because you know we're more familiar with that term, Bitcoin. Bitcoin exists as a digital currency that they only made a finite number of Bitcoin. I think it was 21 million Bitcoin that they made. And they're never going to make any more than that, and that's it. Steem is the same kind of thing, where they make a finite amount, and they're not going to make any more of it. And so it has the ability to rise in value based on the fact that there's a certain amount of supply, and it's not going to grow. A little different than the U.S. dollar, where they can just keep printing more money, right? If they want to. Now, in Bitcoin, the way Bitcoin is made is typically it's mined. You mine it through using a very heavy duty computer system. And the mining is basically answering mathematical questions that, well, let me start afresh here. I'm doing my best because I'm fairly new at it too. Okay.
Yeah, no,
But
it's good.
Bitcoin and Steem both exist on something called a blockchain. A blockchain is basically think of it as a ledger of every transaction that's ever done with regard to Bitcoin or with regard to Steem. So any transaction that's ever been done with Bitcoin or will be done is on this blockchain. So I think of blockchain as Lego bricks.
Mm-hmm.
One Lego brick has to be like completed, and several miners, these are machines that are doing this calculation, are making sure that that ledger of that one block of transactions is all accurate and complete and kind of, you know, locked in place, right?
Mm-hmm.
Then the next block starts in that blockchain, and all those transactions happen. And at a certain point, when it fills up the block, all the miners, the people who are legitimizing all these transactions or just making sure that everything's accurate,
Mm-hmm.
they seal that off. There might be 20 or 30 or 50 miners who are doing this to make sure that there's redundancy and make sure everything's accurate.
And
so
are these transactions just like Bob sent Bill 20 US dollars of
Yep.
Bitcoin, and
Exactly.
making sure that $20 was actually $20 sent?
Yep, exactly.
Okay. But
That's
sometimes
really
it might
all
be
it is.
more complex, I guess. But
yeah, and so those miners get paid for what they're doing, and they get paid in Bitcoin.
mm-hmm.
Or now in Steem, instead of miners, we're mining by posting content. So the value that we're providing, instead of the value over here of figuring out mathematical calculations, the value we're providing on Steem is posting quality content.
Mm-hmm.
And I'm sure there are miners there too, or some way that they, you know, verify all the transactions and all that. But
Mm-hmm.
it adds another level because the blockchain is what all these different things can operate on. Like you could have an app that runs on a blockchain. That's basically what Steemit is. It's an app. It's really one of the first that could go mainstream or could go really big because everybody understands a social network, you know, that kind of thing.
Mm-hmm.
So it's kind of cool because it's not just, hey, I'm going to invest in Steem. I'm going to create this crypto for myself by posting content. It's tricky, man. It takes a while to understand. Like that's why I went search. I was reading a lot of these articles on Steemit, on the platform itself about Steemit, and I was like, wow, what is this Steem power stuff? And what is Steem backed dollars and Steem? There's 3 different things, right? And I couldn't understand it all. I couldn't put it all together until I got a Udemy course by somebody who knew what it all was, and he walked me through it, and I was like, wow, you know, this is awesome. For once, I was a student, you know, and I was like, this is so cool because you could read. It's so interesting because I got to see it from the standpoint of a student, right, Phil? We're so into creating content and so into teaching. But man, when you look at Udemy as a student, I was really inquisitive. I really wanted to know what the heck how does this all work, right?
Yeah.
And this guy took me by the hand, you know, through the computer and showed me, okay, this is Steem. This is what you do with it. This is how you can power up. This is how you power down. All these different terminologies I'd heard, but had no idea what they were. And then it all kind of coalesced in that course.
Okay, well, cool. I think I'm gonna have to take that course. I mean, it's making a lot more sense. So thank you for explaining it. And it yeah, it still is like it's so out of the norm from what we're used to, which is why it's so confusing. But
here's what I would recommend. I'd recommend what I did. What I did was I said, great, Steem pays me to post. Awesome, I'm going to start posting.
Yeah.
And then just start posting and just go on there and just see. You'll get little rewards, 20 cents, 50 cents. Remember, if it's $1 reward that you get on an upvote, it's worth about $1.20 or $1.50 or whatever. And just start posting, just get familiar with it. And as you go, you'll learn about it. But if you really want to learn how it works, then check out that course. I'll have a link to it that I can put on here in the chat.
Cool. Awesome.